and he does only have to survive for 22 seconds. But it's like right on the edge. Artemis there is, he has structure damage, he's dropping quite low, and basically they're throwing everything they have at him at this point.
Yeah, this is sort of like a mini game embedded in an Alliance tournament. Is if you are going to lose a match, just see if the guy can tank. It gives you something to celebrate afterwards, and it actually was a pretty good run. I mean, that's a strange comp, and it didn't work how they had hoped. But I think they still positioned really smartly, and that 4-man MJD blew my mind.
And they actually hit their target. They did go out of the arena.
Yeah,
so congratulations to Methodical Alliance. They are eliminated from this Alliance tournament, but I'm sure we'll see them back in AT13. And Waffles will be continuing on. So we are going to be back in just a few minutes for Afterlife versus Scum. But before that, let's send you to the analysis desk and what I'm sure is a very relieved Apothne.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, Space Chutney's primary.
My client just froze.
Support, take care of that, please.
I can't.
Everybody else stay on the Vexor of Space.
Lodge is down.
Yep, Space Chutney's primary, followed by Captain Go.
Primary target.
Okay, Space Chutney's now primary.
Racer's about to go down.
Rogon, you dead?
Space Chutney's primary, guys. Make
Yeah,
sure
just
it's on
disco.
Space Chutney.
Loot the field, guys. Loot the field.
Welcome back to the studio, everybody. I'm CCP Gargant, joined here by Apothne, back in Alien, and CCP Rise. Apothne, contain your smug, please.
Well, how do you like them waffles?
I like waffles.
Oh, I wish I had waffles.
But let's make one thing clear. They only delayed the inevitable. Like, my puns will come out eventually.
Yes.
They will, unless they win the tournament. If they win the
do
tournament.
face Shadow Cartel next, which we will win, but it's going to be a hard match.
Are you going to give them that? It'll be a hard match. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's very,
Shadow Cartel, a very strong team.
Yeah, that's very gentlemanly of you.
What did you think when you saw the setup you were fighting in this match?
So I thought it was weird, frankly, because it was kind of a tinker without the logi.
Yeah.
You know, you had those buffer-fit rattlesnakes, you got the paladin, which obviously can bastion self-rep really well. You got those jaguars, which seemed a little out of place. I think the Waffle FC realized that, you know, you can just drop a bunch of flights and take them off the field quite easily, which is exactly what they did, gave them the point advantage, which allowed them to then be in control of the match.
Yeah.
If any A team kind of can pick up some points early, and there's no kind of rush to kill anything off the field, as there wasn't in that match, by having that point advantage, you're then forcing the other side to actively do something so that they just don't lose on time.
Yeah, that was thanks. That was the
Body shot the camera right there.
Perfect time for
I
that.
actually think Twitch TV just sort of solidified into a person that brought water for CCP Rise.
That was the most random thing. Okay.
Wow.
That threw you off a little.
Spaceships. Okay, so as far as Tinker without Logi, what I was thinking is we've kind of talked about this off and on. I know we talked about it some last tournament, but with the Marauder, you end up having to kind of find a way to make a mini team that functions separate from the Marauder, and we've seen versions of that in this tournament where it's kind of tinkery, kind of self-sustaining Logi of some kind. And this to me looked like what they were thinking was like, we just have to get something killed with this other wing, so we'll have like just the rattlesnakes, we'll make sure that they kill some stuff, and then the Marauder can finish the fight for us. But then that didn't happen at all.
They managed to kill something. They can Kazakh.
Well, I think Veritas managed to kill something.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, no, I think that like what can you really get the kill on that? You know, we saw the Mimitar Gila team that we've been seeing a lot of in this tournament. You know, you got the Mimitar command ships, great shield booster mount. Gila's great tank. Worm's great tank, apart from to Veritas. And then I can't remember what our support wing was considered of the rest, but it was no. I think
Worms.
I think it was probably the setup they wanted to see the least.
I just now all of my favorite maneuvers in this tournament have been done by a Paladin pilot. This was a smart bombing micro jump driving pilot.
They did do a nice job with that.
Yeah, no,
the other
I
one
think,
just went straight
I
out
think
of
they
the
do have the counter to the to the moving drone meta sorted. They had a lot of smart bombs. I just think that idea needs probably some refinement and some better execution, which I think we will see as the
It
tournament
was just
goes on.
really surprising that they were actually commentators mentioned they had a target painter on the scimitar for a while right after the MJD. They actually also had neutralizers. They were close enough to actually nuke the scimitar as well. And they still managed to get almost no damage applied whatsoever, which is just really strange. I don't know if that's about drone choice or some other execution problem, but otherwise that seemed like it had the potential to be a really nice move, and that they could have.
I was going to say that was something worth mentioning. Is the first time we've really seen that done extremely effectively. They managed to micro jump drive their entire fleet right on top of logistics. And I thought as soon as that happened, I
Really
went,
well done.
something's changed here. This is going to be really bad for Waffles. Hopefully they're far enough ahead at this point that they can pull something out. But then, just like you said, nothing happened.
But this proved that micro jump drives can be used for good in this tournament. Now
It only took 3 weeks.
well, everything takes time. Now the final match before our little break, so that we can feed ourselves, is going to be the Afterlife dot versus Scum dot.
Lots of dots.
Lots of dots. I don't know. I honestly don't know what to expect from this match. The bans from Afterlife are Tango and Loki, while Scum dot have banned out the Gila and the Rattlesnake.
So again, Shield Tinker bans with Tengu Loki.
Yeah.
And then you said Healer Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be very difficult to have a shield team in this match, I think.
Yeah.
I wrote a Rattle Shake, but that was wrong.
Unless we see another Orthrus Serb setup, I think we're going to see some old school armor versus armor.
Well, you never know. They could bring Drakes.
They could do that. That is a possibility. But I think if we go to probabilities, I'm doubting it.
Actually,
Never not believe.
Never,
No.
Exactly. Don't stop believing it.
The Drake fever that Shadu warned us of may return one day.
Now that you say it, I actually think there will be shield teams. I think it'll probably be just shield, like Ishtar, Claymore. VNIs are there, which I guess are more likely to be armor, but
Armor, yeah.
Vexers, I don't know.
We've seen the odd
Let's-
shield ears as well.
We have seen quite. Actually, we saw 3 in a row, 3 matches
Let's
in a row
just
with those.
jump face first.
Face
into it.
first.
Face first into the next match. The Afterlife versus Scum. I'm going with Scum. What do you guys think?
I'm going the Afterlife.
I'm going Afterlife dot.
I'm going Scum.
Even split.
Let's see
CCP
what happens.
versus Castex.
War target has engaged bait. Jump, jump. Target has been broadcast. Kill the pod. Red versus blue, shooting people in the face all day, but best friends after.
Welcome back, one and all, to the last match before the break on this third weekend of the 12th Alliance tournament. This is CSP Fozzie, joined once again by Sir Squeebles, and we have the Afterlife dot versus Scum dot. And these are two kind of old school armor setups coming up against each other. We've got Afterlife with a Dominix, Eos, double Ishtar, Neros, Kruer, triple Malice, Malediction, double Merlin.
And on the Scum side, you have an Armageddon, double Eos, Oneros, Vexer, 3 Heretics, and 2 Maulus.
Both these teams are actually going to play pretty similarly. I think.
Yeah. The interesting thing is, I feel like this is one of those matches where the support wing is the fight. You're going to see drones coming out from both sides. I mean, the Armageddon is definitely a factor here, but I think really it's going to be a matter of the 3 Maulus on the Afterlife team establishing damp superiority and holding it and using it to keep those Heretics from getting anywhere close. If those Heretics can nuke 1 or 2 of these Mauluses early, I think Scum would have a very easy time from there on out.
The match has now begun. Both teams came in at max range to the beacon, but they came in from pretty close warp-ins, so they're actually not too far away from each other, easily within heretic range. So we're going to have to see how well those heretics apply when they're all damped. There's damps on every single one of the Scum team members, and you can see that control bar is pretty heavily filled for Afterlife.
And really importantly, there's not just damps on everything, right? Spreading your damps evenly might not always be the best choice. So they not only have things damped completely, like everyone has their own special damp, but they've damped out the molluses enough that there's no counter damping. And not only did they damp them, but they also are starting to kill them.
Well, one of the molluses went out of the arena from a boundary violation. That mollus lost for Scum was boundary. And meanwhile, they are losing an Aneros. So that Aneros of Phil is taking a lot of damage. He was painted once again. And I think it's going to be only a matter of time before he dropped. And this is a really bad start for Scum.
Those are probably two of the worst ships you could lose early on. We've talked about logistics being a nice thing to have with you, and that mollus being super important. And my question for that mollus pilot is, why was he burning away toward the edge of the boundary when he's already losing the damp war?
So the fact that damps actually have a max range that's much smaller than the arena means that you can sometimes win a damp war by getting out of range of the other guy's damps and then getting in and counter-locking him and damping faster. It's a pretty tough game to play, though, and obviously very dangerous, as it's easy to get yourself out of the arena.
Yeah, there is an edge to the arena. The Oneros is gone, a Heretic is gone, a Mollus is gone, and everything is still damped. And just like old-school ECM comps, or any E-War comp for that matter, as fewer and fewer ships are left on field for Scum, they're going to be more and more and more E-Ward. So it's just sort of like reducing down into being so damped you can't accomplish anything.
Yep. So meanwhile, they're losing a Vexer as well. There is damage hitting the Afterlife team, but the Aneros there of Dirty Coyote is doing very well, keeping his team alive. He saved that crewer when he got down to below half armor. Now he's taking damage, but the damage is so slight that I think Afterlife has this in the bag.
And Scum has gotten some newts out, presumably. I mean, the EOS could have newts, the Vexers could have newts. I'm not sure what it is, but they're distributed on targets that aren't going to suffer a terrible amount from being neuted. They wanted them on the Oneros. The Oneros seems to have wiggled out. Good piloting on his part. This Ishtar of Dagao is painted, and he's not really moving all that quick. He's not tackled. He's below 300 MS, so he's going to die. And then actually this remaining Mollus for Scum is putting in some overtime by damping out the Oneros, and Dagon died in the meantime.
Yeah, so the Aneros also has what I believe are going to be ECM drones around him. Nope, they're actually Valkyrie too. So he is taking. Oh, there you go. Yeah, those are ECM drones.
Okay, I was about to say, I don't know who on the other team would have ECM, but that would be pretty brutal. Next, they're going for the Dominics.
It's going to be hard to break with the Aneros still alive.
Yeah, I have to imagine that's a positional thing at this point. Again, they're following the first rule. They're putting damage on something. So you'll give it to them that they are cycling their drones around. Even under the damp pressure, it looks like they're pretty effectively putting damage down. But now this Oneros is taking damage, but is still being allowed to burn at 1300 MS. So there's no tackle left for Scum besides maybe on those EOS to support the drone damage. And you can tell they're suffering because of that.
Yeah, so they did take down a crewer there, but this Armageddon has actually not put a nude on anything, pretty much this whole fight. I've been watching him. There's no nude effects coming off. Basically, he's just too slow to get close to things, and he's damped down, so he can't use that long nude range. He's now getting pretty close to the EOS. Well, actually, that's his own EOS, but at least there's a Frigs on him he could be nuding. But at the moment, he's just motoring around the arena, hoping to get within range of something. I think it's going to be too late pretty soon.
Yeah, I think it was too late, even like 2 minutes ago, really. Afterlife had a really strong start. That damp superiority worked really well. It played into their hands that Scum decided they didn't need that Mollus anyways and let him fly out. But this EOS is going down, and quite frankly, an Armageddon and an EOS don't have the damage to close this out, even if everybody in the Afterlife goes to make a cup of tea. So I don't see this going well for them.
So it looks like they actually are getting in some more damage onto that Aneros. At this point, it may just be some drones from the EOS and the Heretic. The Heretic, of course, with great range, although he is damped. But with that last EOS down, or the last EOS dropping for Scum, this is definitely a solid position for Afterlife to be in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Scum did wrong, to be completely honest. I think, like I said, the 3 Mollus on the Afterlife side, that's a heavy investment. I mean, to put 3 ships toward damping, but it's a really good investment. It's
Yep.
it's very point efficient, and we've seen a lot of teams, doesn't really matter, shield, armor, either one, that have won matches based on damps already.
We've been seeing a lot of teams relying heavily on damps, a lot of good teams relying on them, also a lot of good teams that are aware of how powerful they are and trying to ban them out.
Right.
If you look at the setups and the bans from the first 2 weekends from our defending champion and defending runner-up, PL and Hydra, Hydra's been running super heavy damping teams. Like they've been running Molluses and Celestises and just like tons and tons of damps. And PL's been banning out Mollus and Celestis in like almost every match.
Right,
They really don't want to face them.
And you could still have the carries, but I mean that's putting more points into a single hole. You're not going to be able to distribute this many damps, so there's no way to ban out damps in the same way that there's no way to ban out a drone team. But yeah, definitely, I think moving forward, teams that haven't considered that option should take some time and sit down and consider that option, because these damps have just wrecked several teams.
Yeah, you have to have a good game plan for them, and as Afterlife showed, one of the best game plans for them is being the first ones to damp, winning that initial damp war. Both of these teams actually had quite a lot of damps. It's the 2 Molluses on Scum versus the 3 on Afterlife, but it's likely that the Heretics on an Armor Heretic team probably have some extra damps as well. So there's a lot of damps there, but they just all got hit much faster and then quickly lost a Mollus to boundary violation when he was trying to do the dance of this support, which is another thing that we often don't really get to see very closely because it's kind of hard to follow all the intricate movements. But for Molluses versus Molluses in these kind of fights, like dancing in and out of each other's lock range is actually pretty powerful. And that is the match. Afterlife is going to be moving on and Scum is eliminated. And now we are going to be sending you back to our analysis desk and then to a quick break.